Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Create Brevity. This is your host, eDirector. And for this week's episode, I want to talk about a couple of different tricks and tips for maintaining the state, for staying in the state when you notice that you're not in it. Um, and by the state, I'm talking about the state you want to be in when you're consciously manifesting, when you're consciously creating. Okay, so before we begin, just want to remind you guys that I do have a website where I offer one-on-one coaching, and there's a great blog that I do as well with more manifesting techniques and tips and more takes from me about my experiences as a conscious manifester and a life coach. I'm also now on TikTok, so you can follow me there. The name is Create Brevity, and I'm on YouTube as well under the same name. So I hope you guys will check out some of those platforms when you get a chance. And without further ado, I will jump right into the topic. So, for this week's episode, I want to talk about the state and those tips and those techniques, those tricks that I mentioned earlier. But first, I get a lot of questions from listeners and from clients about what the state actually is and what it feels like. So, we've talked about it in past episodes, but I want to just explain it briefly in case there's some new listeners out there and in case you just want to hear it again. So, the state that you want to be in with manifesting, the state really is just a perspective, perspective shift, if you want to call it, from overthinking, from blaming yourself, from not having the confidence to believe that you deserve your manifestations, not having the confidence to believe that you're going to get them, right? That you're worthy of them, that you're worth it, that you're worth the work, that you're worth, that if you're trying to manifest an SP, right? And you're trying to manifest reconciliation, the state that you want to be in is a state where you believe not only will you reconcile and that you're already there, right? But that you deserve that reconciliation simply because you're you, okay? And you can give any kind of explanation you want for that. I like to say that I deserve the things that I want, and those things want me back just as much because I'm amazing. I'm incredible. I'm unforgettable. I'm worth it, right? Because I'm magical. I'm stardust, okay? Now, saying them all in a row like that, I'm affirming. But those affirmations don't create my manifestation. They don't create this reconciliation, right? If we're going with the SP example, my state does. When I say those words, I can feel myself shifting into a better place. I feel myself calming down. I hear the belief, that ring of truth in my voice when I say those words, and I just, whew, I relax into them. Okay. And that's the state. The state is how you would feel if all of those things were true and if you have your manifestation and things are where you want to be. Okay. You could think of this state as being the opposite of whatever you're feeling now, if that's helpful. That can kind of shift us along. Okay. So if you're working on that SP manifestation, but you're not getting the responses, the communication isn't what you want, and you feel yourself ramping up, right? You've got that anxious energy going on, okay? You feel like your stomach's falling out, okay? For me, I get this tension in my neck, along my collarbone and on my shoulder blades. And it just feels like, mm, it's a combination of feeling like I feel hopeless, but at the same time, I feel like I need to do more, like I'm not doing enough. So it's like this weird clash. And eventually I just kind of droop. I like wilt. And when I do that, I know I'm falling out of the state. Okay. I'm recognizing that I am not in the state at that point. At that point, I'm not creating the things that I want. Okay. I'm not seeing myself as someone who creates. I'm seeing myself as someone who is victimized by life, that life is coming at me. Okay. So instead of me projecting what I want out into the world, I'm letting the world dump on me in that moment. So that's a good indicator that you're not in the state. And like I said, the state is exactly how you would feel if you had the manifestation. And that's different for everyone. For me, it's kind of a neutral feeling. It's a calm feeling. It feels like the opposite of worrying, the opposite of stress, the opposite of anxiety. Okay? So I'm calm. I feel good about myself. I don't have to be over the moon, freaking out in ecstasy, but I'm just relaxed because been there, done that. It's mine, right? I know that I got this. I can handle it. So that's what the state is for me. And like I said, if you guys are a little bit confused about what the state is, don't worry. Okay, it is different for everyone. If it helps, think of it as I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to get to a place where it's the opposite of how I'm feeling right now. It's the opposite of this pit in my stomach. It's the opposite of the anxiety. And I've talked about it in other podcasts, but if you can kind of pinpoint where it is in your body, it's easier for you to sit with it. It's easier for you to let it go. Okay. And what I mean about sitting with it and letting it go, a lot of clients have had questions about that, and I've had some good emails about that. But sitting with it doesn't mean stewing on the emotion and letting it run through you and letting it fester and letting you get those crazy thoughts. You know, it's kind of those thoughts that feel like a snowball, like you'll have a little bit of a trickle and then it just builds and builds and builds. That's not what we're talking about when I say sit with it. What I mean about that is actually feel it's almost like it feels like an energetic response is swelling up in your body, and you can kind of feel it rising up, literally like hot air is rising up. At least this is how it feels for me. And I feel like a hot air balloon, like I'm about to take off, and that's when I feel angry about something. Um, that's when I feel anxious and I just kind of want to jump out of my seat and do something. I feel this kind of hot air balloon energy rising up. And what I mean when I say sit with it is start to neutralize that by just letting it be there, right? By understanding that fighting this is pointless, by counter thinking thoughts in this moment, it's not really doing anything for me. I'm just going to let it be here and I'm going to understand that this energy that I have, it's going to change and it's supposed to come up and it's supposed to get released. Okay. When I try to fight it by acting like it's not there, right? By ignoring it, when I try to fight it by giving into it, you know? And by giving into it, that doesn't mean if you want to cry, letting yourself cry a little bit. No. What I mean by that, by giving into it, is if you feel rage coming up and you just completely unload on people that have nothing to do with it, when you completely unload in situations where you're creating the opposite thing, okay, that can make you feel worse, right? Because then you feel like you have to go back and fix that and manifest other things to kind of fix what you did. So you're sitting with it, you're letting it come up, and you're going, you know what? I'm still here. I still feel this rage. I'm going to sit with it because I know emotions change. They can change in an instant, they can flip on a switch. And this, it's going to change, it's going to turn, it's going to pass. Okay? So that's what I mean by sitting with it, not stewing on it, sitting with it and letting it pass through you. Okay. So now that we know what the state is, okay, and we know some different ways, okay, of recognizing it, what do we do when we recognize it, when we know what it is, and we want to get back to it? We want to get back to that calm feeling, back to neutrality. Well, for me, okay, we kind of talked about it a little bit, which is to sit with it and let it pass. But one of the biggest tricks that I've learned is honestly just getting very, very comfortable with the fact that really no matter what I do, it doesn't matter if I decide to react, if I have a moment where I'm freaking out, okay, if I laugh it off, okay, if I decide I want to shift my focus in that moment, regardless of what I do, I'm still creating because we're always manifesting. And no matter what I do, it can be fixed. And no matter what I do, it doesn't stop my manifestation. There is such a freedom in that. And knowing that no matter what, I'm still going to get everything that I've ever wanted. Okay. Not only am I going to get it, I have it. I have it right now. And knowing that, it just kind of sucks all the air out of the room, right? Why am I freaking out in this moment when I know that I'm creating, when I know that no matter what I do, I'm still going to get it? Okay. I don't have to freak out in that moment. There's no need for me to fight my 3D. Okay. There's no need for me to have those conversations. Now, I recognize that this, while it may sound very simple, it's not always easy to do in the face of circumstances. I totally get that. I've been there. And, but what I'm trying to tell you is give it a try, practice it a little bit. Because what you'll find is even if you mess up, you're not going to shame yourself as much. You're not going to feel as bad, okay? You're not going to feel like you have to do more self concept work that begets more self concept work. You're going to be able to realize, you know what? I reacted. I thought that was the best decision at the time. I see maybe that wasn't. Maybe I didn't have to do that, but it doesn't matter because I'm still going to get my manifestation anyway. It's just next time I might choose something different just to choose something different. I might do it because it makes me feel better, right? When all is said and done, I want to feel good. I want to feel calm. So I'm just not going to react for myself. Okay. Has nothing to do with getting in the manifestation, right? Nothing to do with my conscious creation because that's done. When you can get to that place, that's truly being in the state. Just knowing that no matter what you do, it doesn't matter because you got it in the bag, right? That you're going to react differently, not to get something, right? But because you like it better, because you're putting yourself first, right? And not only that, but you have to realize, guys, I know a lot of coaches have been saying this, or maybe they haven't, but the coaches that I have been around, the people that I've been listening to, they emphasize manifestation as a lifestyle, right? I just had a great Q&A with King Greg F on TikTok. A great manifestation coach, lovely human being, a good friend. And we had a little bit of a discussion about manifestation being a lifestyle, right? And I can't emphasize that enough because once it's not about getting something in order to make you feel good or getting something to save your 3D, right? So you can be rescued from the 3D or getting something, okay? And then that giving you permission to be a certain type of way or to feel a certain type of way. Once it becomes not about getting the thing, but just about you prioritizing feeling good and staying in the state, then a whole different world opens up. Your perspective radically shifts, and you're going to feel the change within you, within your heart. You're going to feel that shift first. Okay? And you're really going to start to understand what people mean when they say you're projecting yourself out onto people. Everyone is you pushed out, right? It's something that we talked about. It's been a minute, but in podcasts of the past, we've talked about it. Okay? But that's everybody is you pushed out. It's just you projecting yourself out onto the people around you. You're influencing the situation around you. You're creating, okay? By focusing your will and your energy on that creation, okay? Instead of your circumstances. And it will become easier for you, okay, to keep that focus, right? To keep your will on your 4D, on your creations, okay? When you can remember that no matter what you do in the 3D, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect anything. I feel like a lot of times when we react to our circumstances, when we want to fight with our 3D and we're kind of wrestling with it, it's because we forget that we're consciously creating all the time, that we're going to get something anyway. it's almost like a flight or a fight response, as they say, right? We kind of want to like run away from the 3D, or we want to fight with it until it gives us what it wants, right? What we want, rather, excuse me, until it gives us what we want. And that's not necessary because we already have what we want. We don't have to fight for it anymore. And if something in the 3D bothers us, we don't have to run away from it, right? We don't have to be in denial about it. We have the option to free ourselves. We have the option to change our perspective, okay? And that starts with understanding that no matter what you do, no matter how much you touch the 3D, punch it in the face, kick it in the butt, it doesn't matter, okay? You have the right to want the things that you want, right? You have the right to want the health that you're manifesting, the wealth that you're manifesting, the SP, okay? You have a right to it. And you should know, okay, that as soon as you want something, there is going to be an avenue for you to get it, right? So you don't have to stress about it anymore. But if you find yourself stressing out, if you find yourself giving into it, it's okay because no matter what you do, it's all yours anyway. And that for me has been the biggest tip, trick, technique for staying in the state. It just kind of, I feel myself reacting, I feel myself being hard on myself, getting down a little bit, and then I have that thought will just pop into my head. It's okay because I can still get anything anyway. If I want to react to this, fine, okay? But I don't have to. And it just kind of takes, oh, okay, yeah. I feel released from having to give in to that fight or flight response, right? From having to argue with myself on why I deserve something or why I can't have something. I can just relax because it's done. I already did it. I manifested it, right? And it'll pop up in the 3D when it pops up. I'm just going to focus on how great it feels in the 4D, how great that new kitchen I'm manifesting feels, right? How great it feels to be a amazing life coach. How great it feels to be with my SP, right? And that, guys, that right there is the state. And I hope that this really helps. I hope that you guys are able to get something out of this podcast. And as always, I am just super grateful and always so humbled that anyone bothers to write comments and they're kind enough to listen because I know you guys are giving me your time and that you're giving me your enthusiasm, which I appreciate so much more than I can even express. So thanks, guys, as always, for listening. Hope this helps. Love and light.